What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. As we're starting to approach the end of the season, a lot of you guys, myself included, are going to be pushing to hit that next tier or that next rank before the end of the season rewards get given out. With it come a bunch of strategies to hit that next level in the few months remaining, and from my experience, one of the best strategies to win games as the season closes out is to play as easy of champions as possible, or at the very least, to avoid playing hard champions. Let's get started. If you've been watching me for a while now, you'll know that I am a very poor mechanical player. My mechanics just aren't that great, and they never have been, and it's a big part of why I'm a support main. I'm definitely working on branching out and getting better, but improving mechanics takes a long time, and so if you're like me, or honestly even if your mechanics are just decent, there's a lot of advantages that come with playing easy champions. If you're at a lower rank than you might want, you're probably not playing as well as you need to be to win and rank up. Even if there's a mechanically intensive champion that you like, unless you have a 60 to 65% plus win rate with them, then it's probably worth it to learn an easy to play solo queue champion to carry yourself out. So the most obvious is that playing easy champions takes significantly less mechanical skill, meaning that you're going to make far fewer mechanical mistakes. And this especially applies to 1v1 fights and other scenarios where mechanics play a huge role in who comes out on top. If you're playing champions that are harder to play, you are much more likely to mess up with their kit than if you were playing someone easier. And so in that sense, playing easy champions essentially makes you a better player, since it's going to be a lot harder for you to make mechanical mistakes. Outside of summoner spells, mechanics are very much involved with the kit of whatever champion you happen to be playing, and so having a higher difficulty kit increases the risks of your decisions since you will be more likely to mess up some ability or some part of that champion's kit. Easier mechanical champions have less risk involved but have the same rewards, and a lot of your power will just be in your actual game knowledge of if you are strong enough to beat your opponent, rather than if your mechanics are good enough to outplay them. This concept is what often causes champions in the game to have high win rates in solo queue. The champions in League that have high win rates are almost always the champions that are easy to play, rather than the champions that have the strongest kits. For example, when Echo came out, he was pretty overpowered, which we can see based on the humongous nerfs he received in future patches after his release, but on release his win rate was only around 48%, which isn't actually that good. In fact, it's pretty terrible for how strong his kit actually was, and you might expect his win rate on paper to be legitimately 8% higher or even more, but his kit was super complex and was quite difficult to play, and so if you wanted to get good at him, it could easily take you 100 games or even more, whereas if you wanted to play someone like Warwick on the same level, you could probably pick him up in honestly like 5 games fairly easily, since he's such an easy champion to play. However, easy champions aren't perfect, and there's a lot of reasons for why a lot of them aren't that popular. Champions like Warwick, Malphite, even someone like Taric are quite good for solo queue simply because they are so easy to play. But they are completely untouched in competitive play, or even just in higher solo queue ranks, because an easy kit does bring some disadvantages, mainly that your outplay potential is significantly reduced. A difficult champion like Echo or Azir might be harder to play, but they have crazy amounts of outplay potential due to the tools their kit inherently has. Someone like Warwick or Malphite has quite a linear kit, and so you're not going to be making any crazy 1v1 outplays, since the options for those champions simply just aren't there. But the thing is that those outplay tools are really just not needed at all in your average solo queue game. Sure, if you're master or challenger they might be, or if you're playing in competitive play, but in any ranking lower than that, it's not only much more important, it's also much easier to outplay people based on your decision making alone, because nobody respects the power of champions, and something like a Malphite ult is going to win you a lot more fights than something like a crazy Azir sec play. And since you can rely on your decision making of knowing when to fight, rather than actually having to outplay your opponent by setting up some crazy play, it's going to be a lot easier, and you can actually end up making a lot more plays, because the lower skill cap of the play you're trying to make is going to give you a lot more opportunities, meaning that the outplay potential that you get in those harder champions won't actually contribute to you making more plays at all, since the difficulty of the kit is certainly going to hinder your ability to make make plays. And above all else, you're taking away your own chances to mess up and throw the game. Difficult champions can be a bit more fun to play for some people, don't get me wrong, but if you're trying to win, playing easier champions is definitely the way to go.